So just real quick before we go, this was the first boss that we tested today, and it's basically there's 2 melee bosses and 2 ranged bosses, and so they're 2 caster bosses basically, and so you can kick them to make them actually move around the room and do stuff, right? So this is a 3 to 4 target cleave fight, I would say, and it's there are moments where you want the bosses to kind of separate a little bit, but generally speaking, they can spend a lot of time stacked. And so this is wild. I don't remember the last time you just had a 4 target stack cleave fight. You basically had the end of the end of Pantheon. So not the full fight, but part of it, right? This fight, just start to end, is just cleave fiesta, so it's kind of hilarious. Okay, yeah, there I got knocked off, so let's try and find somewhere where we're not knocked off. And then I'll pause real quick. So a couple of gimmicks. The Earth guy brings up these rocks out of the ground. They do a lot of damage if you get hit by them, and they're there to kind of LOS. And then you can also break them with the big smash that he does on the tank. That's a big everybody soak it thing. There's a caster that gives you a cold debuff, and you need to touch the fire to get hot, to get rid of it. Likewise, the fire on the ground hurts you, so you don't want to be standing in it, but the cold debuff actually gives you a fire resistance buff, so you're going to take less damage when you go do that mechanic. Good stuff. Finally, there's a lightning boss, and the lightning you want to spread out from other people so you don't get hit. And so, for the most part, those were the main mechanics, and you're basically just doing those mechanics while you're cleaving down 4 people. If you fail the frost thing, if you don't get in the fire, you turn into an icicle and have to be broken out. So here we're soaking this stuff, except that person ran over there to solo it, which is totally fine. Yeah, so this one was just basically a like spec as much stack cleave as you possibly can for 4 targets and go to town, and definitely a lot of fun. I'm not 100% sure what the exact best talents are for this style of fight yet, because 4 targets is where a lot of our abilities kind of break point. It's where a lot of them kind of go, yeah, it's actually worth it on this count, which means that it's often not the case for 3 targets or 5 targets, and you might spend a lot of the fight on 3. So Disintegrate's always going to be really good here. Pyre with Charge Blast stacks and Essence Burst is going to be good here. Firestorm's going to be good when it's hitting everybody for sure. You want your dots rolling. So Everburning Flame actually could work pretty well in a fight like this, where you basically drop your Fire Breath, you drop Everburning Flame, you're extending it with Firestorm, and then you just focus on cleaving the crap out of everybody, right? Like, that's actually pretty effective on a fight like this. But overall, even on some of the good pulls, I'm not touching the BM Hunters. Those guys are beast cleaving like crazy and just a good time. So definitely a fun fight, though. That one's cool. The next one was a spidery boss. Let me try and find the spidery boss. This is the spidery boss with some little spiders. I'm trying to find a little spot in the fight where something actually happens. So big spider stands up there. So there's big spider boss, right? There's the big spider ad, and then there's a bunch of little spider ads. And the big boss that's hanging from the ceiling actually has a huge hitbox. You can pretty much hit the big boss from most of this area, even as an evoker, which is good. So it'll take a little bit of getting used to, but sorry, I'm circling. Look at look, these pets are killing me. Like, just the funniest thing. So let me just find a little spot. Right. So you have this big spider ad, and he needs to die because he gets stronger over time. So you really want to burst him down. The boss is over here, chilling, has a big hitbox. If I were to stand here, basically, like a little forward, so where I am now, I can generally hit both the boss and this guy with like my frontals and my spells and cleave and all that. So not bad. This boss can generally be hit for a lot of this area. When this finishes, we actually you'll notice we're in like a bit of an interesting little terrain where there's we're on a platform, but then there's stairs basically going up and down, right? There's stairs over there. When we face the boss will start going up the stairs basically, and we also need to go up the stairs to kind of meet the boss onto the next platform. So, so this boss is a lot of fun because you have your kind of 1 to 2 target cleave, but then you also just have a bunch of indiscriminate damage on adds that you can do, which is so sick. Here, what I wanted to show was that if I do Deep Breath there, I still hit the boss with it, right? So I'll show one more time. Look at like where I'm aiming this thing, right? I'm just, okay, I already started it, but I'm just going to back up 1 second to show it again. So I'm going to set up a Deep Breath here, right? Look kind of where I'm aiming it, and like, look where the boss is, right? So the boss is still hittable and is kind of coming up this way. And I can just run a Deep Breath right here as like a movement and damaging thing. And just like go bam. So, and that hits the boss, and that's really nice. So not like a huge DPS thing, but just a mini DPS thing. And then one thing that I tried to do a lot later in the fight was I would just try and like pick someone to rescue every time that pull mechanic happened there. And then the boss does this at the last phase, basically comes down and you actually like fight the boss up here. But I think it's a bit of a DPS check by here. I don't think you want to be on like 60% health when you come up here. I think you probably want to be a little lower. So, and then there are a couple mechanics here. You want to dodge those swirls. Those swirls help you kill the boss better if they land on the boss, which is nice. There's all these things on the ground that do damage and bounce you, so you want to avoid those. And or clear them. Anyway, so that's very cool. And then final recap. The last one we did was Mythic Terros testing. I didn't catch quite exactly what's happening with all the mythic mechanics, but it's basically the same as the heroic fight with a couple of changes from what I could tell. I don't remember if these little swirls that turned into spikes were on the heroic fight, but if they are, cool, not a big deal. There is a mechanic where you need people to kind of run into each other to clear their buffs and then deal raid damage, and I guess you probably don't want them all going off at the same time unless you are ready for it. So that's the thing. So you can see how this person's big. They need to like run into someone else to clear it. And then if there was one other big mechanic, I think I'm forgetting it. Is there anything else on this one? There's big soaks, but I think the big soaks are there on heroic as well. There's the mechanic where you get the big ground spikes that come out, and you need to actually like bait him to do the tank slam on them. Yeah, I think it's about it for now. All right, guys. Let's I think leave that for now. So.